Hey folks, welcome. We will go ahead and get started. I am Brittany Barlett. I'm Executive Director of Try This West Virginia. I'm excited to be here with you today. We're with some folks with the Bureau of Public Health today, and we're excited to hear about their Celebrating Healthy West Virginia program, what those awards look like, how you can get one, and what that process is, and what it means to have healthy communities throughout the state of West Virginia. Obviously, Try This is an organization aimed at being one big network across the state to knock West Virginia off the worst health lists and having communities focusing on health in all types of facets of the community is a great way to accomplish that. And so before we get started, let's be good stewards of health ourselves. So some of us, this might not be comfortable for us, James included. So whatever you're able to do, though, let's get a little movement into our afternoon. Maybe you just ate a great big lunch. I ate a way too massive salad, so I'm feeling a little bogged down myself. So let's stretch up in the air if you can, or maybe just roll your wrists if you've been typing a lot. You could do that. You could even stand up and bend over if you'd like. It's a little hard to do that on Zoom sometimes, but even just a nice little stretch, something to get you moving, roll your shoulders. But yeah, with that, I'm going to introduce our two friends here. We have James Vance, who's been a great longtime friend of Try This West Virginia. We work with him a lot. He's been a good friend of us for a long time. And we also have Micah Gregory with the West Virginia Prevention Research Center, who is going to share a little bit as well about their Celebrating Healthy West Virginia Awards. And so I'm excited to hear about that today. And this is something that I think is a great session for us to have, because it can help you decide if you'd like to apply for something like this as well. And so I think this is going to be a great opportunity for different communities across the state to learn about this if you've never heard about it before, and see what that process is like and get a little support from that as well. So without further ado, I'll let James and Micah take over. And thank you both so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany. Micah, would you mind sharing the screen and advancing the slides?
Yeah, absolutely.
Trouble doing that right now.
No worries.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today, and thank Brittany for inviting us to talk a little bit about our Celebrating Healthy West Virginia Community Recognition Awards, formerly known as Healthy People, Healthy Places. Try not to say that through this presentation, because it's, we've been saying it for years now. But we had to change it to Celebrating Healthy West Virginia. My name is James Vance. I work for the Division of Health Promotion and Chronic Disease here at the Bureau for Public Health. I'm the Senior Program Manager for the Prevention Policy Branch within Health Promotion and Chronic Disease. I'm also the DHHR Wellness Coordinator for 6,000 employees. The Building Resilient Inclusive Community State Lead, and I'm also the Program Manager for Celebrating Healthy West Virginia. So wear a lot of hats here at the division, and happy to be a part of this with the great team that we work with several different partners throughout the state. Next slide, please, Micah. Celebrating Healthy West Virginia, we believe that hard work that you're doing in your communities deserves the recognition, that you're making positive impact of the lives, deserve more recognition and support for your community. The PSC changes that you are doing with the grants like these with Try This is what we're celebrating and recognizing the hard work that you do in your community each year. Next slide, please. Everybody close their eyes for a second and just imagine what West Virginia would look like as the national leader and role model in building healthier communities. Celebrating Healthy West Virginia Recognition Program, a process celebrates, shares, and amplifies healthy successes happening to create healthy, thriving communities at every corner throughout West Virginia. Next slide, please. Let's talk about the bad news. We all know that West Virginia is at the top of the list for everything bad. Chronic conditions such as heart disease, cancer, stroke, type 2 diabetes, other major causes of death and disability for our neighbors in West Virginia. And we can throw in tobacco uses there as well. and a recent study that I saw on news that obesity is about ready to take over tobacco as the #1 killer. So we have a lot to do there. We don't want to let that surpass that. But here's the good news: a significant portion of these conditions are preventable, and plenty of communities are working to change the story. Next slide, please. Why does recognition matter? It goes beyond a well-deserved pat on the back. By celebrating and sharing your successes of communities who implement policy programs and healthy environmental changes, we can amplify their accomplishments as well as encourage and empower them in other places to foster healthier, thriving cities, towns, and counties for the residents, businesses, and visitors. Celebrating Healthy West Virginia spreads the word about the positive work communities across our state are doing to meet critical healthy benchmarks. This program aims to accelerate and amplify the successes coming out of these hardworking communities by connecting others to the information, inspiration, and resources they need to promote greater health and well-being for the residents and visitors. The benchmarks are aimed at creating and sustaining better outcomes. Celebrating Healthy West Virginia recognition benchmarks create a roadmap to help local communities make impactful changes that lead toward a healthier future for our state. Why should your community apply? Celebrating Healthy West Virginia recognition doesn't just give your community bragging rights as one of our state's healthiest places. It provides you with a powerful marketing tool. Achieving these benchmarks makes your community a better place to live, work, and play. By improving quality of life, you're helping to reduce healthcare costs and make your community more attractive to people and businesses. You receive valuable insights into how your community is doing and how it might improve. Through our application process, your community will gain valuable insight into how it is doing and how it can improve. You demonstrate to your residents that their leaders are committed to creating a healthy environment. By taking steps to improve the well-being of your community members through participation in the Celebrating Healthy West Virginia program, you show them you are committed to creating a great place to live, work, play, and pray. And Celebrating Healthy West Virginia communities will also receive statewide recognition as one of West Virginia's healthiest places to live. Recognized communities will be highlighted and promoted on the Celebrating Healthy West Virginia website and in press releases and articles and media throughout the state, as well as receive signage and other materials to display in your community. Another reason why communities should apply. New this year, for the first time, will be funding available for recognized communities to use toward improving upon missed benchmarks. So if you apply for Celebrating Healthy West Virginia this year and you are recognized gold, silver, or bronze, there will be funding available for you to work on the benchmarks that you may have not met yet within the application for the next year. And that's my half of the session. Does anybody have any questions before we let Micah take over?
Actually,
Okay.
James, I'm curious, how long I know it used to be a different name, but how long have these awards been going on?
We have done Celebrating Healthy West Virginia. In the past 2 years, it was called Healthy People, Healthy Places.
Okay.
And we had to pick a new name. That's a long story, but we had to go through the process of picking a new name. And Celebrating Healthy West Virginia was of course, our favorite. And we've done it for 2 years. First year we had, correct me if I'm wrong, other people in the group, 7 awardees. And last year we had 5 awardees. So this year we're hoping to get some more communities on board being recognized for the hard work that they're doing in nutrition, physical activity, and tobacco prevention.
Thanks, James.
And I just threw up the website. Hopefully everyone can see it. I just on my sharing screen. If you want to learn more information, please feel free to go to our website at any time, which is celebratinghealthywv.com. And there's tons of information that tells you a little bit more about the history and the past of the program as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some helpful tips that we have for people that are interested in applying for the program. If you are a community that hasn't ever applied for Celebrating Healthy West Virginia Recognition Award, it is something you'd like to consider in the future, these tips are all very helpful, and they're especially helpful if you are a community right now that is in the process of applying for the award for this year. But the first tip is, and I think it's probably one of the more important ones, and it also kind of captures a little bit of the heart and the essence of the program itself, is don't go it alone. We understand that you as an organization or as an individual or at a government agency, a municipality agency or something might not fully have all the questions to all of the benchmarks that are listed, and that's okay. In fact, that's one of the reasons why it's such a broad list of benchmarks, is so that you are encouraged to seek out help from other people, to liaise. We use the term synergy a lot in working with James Vance and the Division for Health Promotion and Chronic Disease, and that's really kind of the heart at this. We want you to interact with your health departments, with community organizations, with council members, with the Parks and Rec department for your county or for your municipality. The County Visitor Bureau, all kinds of different organizations. So our goal is to help kind of break down the silos that we all tend to inhabit, and encourage participation at a local level, or collaboration at a local level. The second tip is we want to encourage you to use the tools that our organization or that our group has provided. Just to list a few, there's a pretty comprehensive benchmarks matrix, which goes into detail about all of the benchmarks that are listed in the application, gives you a little bit better understanding of what exactly it is we're looking for. And then, of course, in addition to that, you would have the application guideline. So the program itself is divided into tiers. We have a city and town category, and then we have a county-wide category. And each category has their individual application guides and some different requirements and different questions altogether. But this application guide is to help you understand the process, and it also gives you some, technical assistance information. And then lastly, we also have a letter of support template. Going back to the very first tip is, we don't want one organization or one individual to go at this alone. It really helps your application if you have support from like city councilmen or local representatives or other local organizations. And so we've helped provide a template to kind of facilitate that for you. So the application itself is digital, and it's housed in a platform called Qualtrics. And the most important aspect of that is that everyone that applies is given a unique Qualtrics link that's yours, and you can fill out the application as you go. It's not something you have to sit down in one sitting and just fill out. In fact, it's almost impossible to do that right off the bat. It does require you to gather some information and to read through the application first. And that, of course, is in the application guide. But we really want to encourage you to fill out the application as you go, instead of either trying to do it all at the beginning or waiting until the very end. And again, I said, you are given a unique Qualtrics links, and then you can come back to it at any time. However, we do know that technology is not always 100%. So we do want to encourage you to keep documented responses of the questions, either in a Word document or some kind of other format, just in case something would happen. Again, technology is never 100%. And again, yeah, keep copies of yourself. Oh, and then an additional add-on to that is the fact that, when you win a reward, or when you're awarded a recognition award, you probably want to write your own press release or have your own write-up, and it's important to have some of that information ready at your fingertips. So save, any kind of photos that you gather throughout the process, maybe quotes that people have, and of course, the answers to the application itself. The last tip, and it's one of the most important, is don't be afraid to ask for help. we have these, we will be having these technical assistance calls and meetings throughout the summer. And of course, this is for this particular year. And then we also are available really at any time if you want to reach out via email and try to schedule something. You know, when you receive the application, you receive our contact information for that. I'm going to pause for a minute and look at the chat. I saw there was potentially a question. Oh no, that's James. Okay, thanks, James. Yes. Oh, thanks. We do have an application paper if there's one available. We do know that there are some connectivity issues in some certain counties within West Virginia, so we do have a paper application as well. You know, as James really mentioned, you know, this goes beyond kind of bragging rights, so to speak. We really want to highlight the good that's going on in the state, very much as Try This does. You know, we want to highlight the people and the organizations and the communities that are really working towards building a healthier community, and not just highlight them, but also try to replicate and gain exponential momentum in improving the health status of the state of West Virginia. Thank you guys for attending. This is our website, celebratinghealthywv.com. Feel free to sign up and be a part of our listserv for more updates, and also for, you know, any new things that are coming on down the road.
Thank you all so much. I wondered if you could also share a little bit about what a healthy community, like a Celebrating Healthy West Virginia awardee gets, because I know some of that information is on the website, and like what, you know, the support that you get and things like that.
Sure. Like I said in the presentation, everybody will get articles and several publications throughout the state, press releases, information on the website, article on the website. They will receive a nice Blinko glass award. They also receive, like I said, the funding. We're going to have funding available for the communities that are recognized this year. We haven't done that in the past. So it will be, you know, if you get recognized gold, you'll get so much silver, bronze, depending on how many we have, you know. If we have a slew, you know, be less, but, you know, we're hoping to be able to give, you know, at least, we have planned on, you know, like 1,200 for gold, 1,000 for silver, and 800 for bronze. But if we get, you know, over, you know, 20, 25 applications, that may slow down just a little bit. But anyway, so around that amount, it could be a little less depending on how many applications we receive.
And also there will be certain awards specifically highlighting communities that have put in successful efforts in health equity and COVID-19 response as well. And James, I believe you mentioned, but it is a 3-tiered award. There's bronze, silver, and gold. And yeah. So.
Yeah, thank you. And I see on the website too, June 24th is like the last day to submit the interest form, right? And then July 15th is the last day to apply. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we're hoping to have the recognition ceremony in August at the West Virginia State Fair. So barring any unforeseen circumstances, we're planning to have the ceremony there. And Brittany, just so 24th is the last day to apply, and if you last day to register to apply, and the 15th is when applications are due.
Gotcha. I just dropped that in the chat. That way folks would know as well. And I'll make sure that when we send that stuff out, that info's there. And
if anybody has any questions, I put my email address in the chat box. If I can't answer the questions, I'll direct you to somebody who can. You know, there's all kind of benchmarks on there that you may not, you might not know anything about tobacco prevention in your county, but however, we can direct you to people in your county or community that do work in tobacco prevention that can help you with those tobacco benchmark questions. Or there's all kinds of different categories in there that you may need help on filling out the application. But we would direct you to the right person, or send you an invite to the technical assistant, webinars we're going to do. So all kinds of ways that you can get technical assistance filling out the application. And then if you are recognized, like I said, you will be getting the funding to address a benchmark in the application that you have not met. So if you get awarded, we will get in contact with you and work with you on what benchmark you would like to work on and improve upon for the next year.
And who is like the best person to apply for this? Would it be like an organization in a community, or like a town itself, or something like that? Do you have any advice for folks?
It could be any number of organizations. For example, just going to use Kanawha County, for instance, Kanawha County Community Coalition for Health Improvement. They're a group that they're multi-sector. They have people from, the city of Charleston. They have people from CAMC, just all kinds of different representing organization groups. Those types of groups are great to apply for this, because they already have, some of them have city people sitting on the group, say, hey, we need a letter from the city supporting our application. Or if it's a county, we need a letter from the county supporting our application. Because ultimately, the city and the county is being recognized, not the coalition or the community group that's applying for that. The recognition is actually for the city or the community. However, that community group would probably be the group that would get the money to help the city reach a benchmark that's not yet met. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think that's like an exciting distinction in the way these awards work, is that it's very much in the spirit of Try This, where you're recognizing the whole community's effort to like get healthier and all the different puzzle pieces that are working together to make that community healthy. And that's why I really love these awards. And I love the new name of Celebrating Healthy West Virginia, because it really is just the whole community's efforts, all the different pieces together. And so that feels very much like Try This, and that they're all working together, and it's not about one person's name or ego. It's celebrating this collaborative effort. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, and we've had in the past cities apply for, like, example, the first year the city of Wheeling was actually applied. They applied, but then they worked with their community groups that would do physical activity in the community, and worked with the groups that do nutrition security and tobacco prevention. So, you want to get that multi-sector group together to work on this application instead of trying just to do it by yourself. And it would be a lot easier just to have a group of people. And we don't allow more than one application per community. So if the first person to go and sign up for that community will be, anybody else that signs up and wants to work and apply for, say, 3 people sign up and want to work for Charleston, they all have to come together and work on that application together, not separate. So we encourage people to work together on the application, to have their community recognized, and make a difference.
I also did want to mention that, this bringing a lot of this information together and bringing communities within your community together to work on healthy recognition awards can lead to some kind of almost value add success. And I wanted to highlight Wheeling specifically, shortly after applying for our award and winning the award back in 2020, they received a $100,000 Aetna Foundation grant to advance health equity. And this award was put together in conjunction with the American Public Health Association. And from what we've heard from the feedback, it was, applying for this award was very helpful during their process. And I believe that is also the same thing also happened in Greenbrier area. Is that correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
This application was the catalyst for them to apply for the national recognition, and it really helped them do that. They were awarded $100,000.
It's really exciting, and like awards like this, and kind of the way Try This tries to set up our mini grants is like a stepping stone to bigger things. And yeah, I'm excited about this. Is it okay to ask if folks have questions, James? Oh, go ahead.
Sure, go ahead. We are welcome to answer any questions. If we can't answer them, we'll find the answers.
Are there any folks on this call who are planning to apply or thinking about applying now that you've heard about this? Can you tell us any other, you're talking about a couple communities that were able to go on and apply for bigger funding. Do you have any stories of some communities of something inspiring that's happened, or a community that really stepped up and worked together to keep hitting those benchmarks? Because I know that the way the award is set up is kind of established benchmarks, I want to reach this and I'm not there yet, or because each community is different, right? They're going to be at different levels, and what, just a story or two about some of those communities and what they've been able to accomplish.
Sure. One that comes to mind is the group in Mingo County, Healthy in the Hills. They do community programming all year long for health and wellness in their area. And after the original first year of Healthy People, Healthy Places, now celebrating Healthy West Virginia, came out, they said that was an eye-opener for them, and that it switched the way they plan for future planning for their policy systems environment changes. The benchmarks gave them directions of things to work on. It's like they call it a roadmap to good health. So, if you're ticking off these benchmarks one by one, eventually, if you've met them all, of course, we'll add new benchmarks every year as they arise, but it helps you what you can plan on year after year, because they're right there in the benchmarks of things that you should be working on for good health for your citizens.
Yeah, that's great. And Micah just dropped one of your spotlight articles in the chat about Mingo County. And was Williamson Health and Wellness the applicant for that?
Correct. Yeah, they were the applicant. But as I think James mentioned, it was also an opportunity for them to network with people at a county level that they don't normally intersect with, even though there's a lot of shared interests. So I remember talking to them, and they were really excited about, they have this kind of foot in the door opportunity to talk to some new folks. So.
Yeah, and Williamson Health and Wellness is awesome. We love them and have partnered with them in the past. They do a lot of great community-based work, so that's exciting for them.
I also think the success stories are always really, really interesting as well. But it's always really interesting when a community can come to us and ask, well, so for example, we only got silver, why didn't we get gold? And it gives us an opportunity to provide feedback and for them to work on things. And so, yeah, this has been a really great, I guess, feedback loop for a lot of different folks. It's good for us too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time when folks apply for awards like this or grants like this, sometimes it's a lot of work to put in for something that you might not get anything out of, right? If I'm submitting a grant for a project that can't be pulled off unless I get grant funding, it's a lot of work to put something together and then be denied. But something like this also kind of feels like the try this checklist. So for folks who aren't familiar, that's where a community group or organization, or even like you're saying, town or county, can sit down and say, hey, what's already happening in our community? How many people can we get together to identify these things, and then see where we can fill in the blanks? I guess I never realized that we already had this walking group going on, and it's an opportunity to really learn about your community and identify where you are. So I think that part of the mini grant process is, we hope that by the end of applying and doing the checklist and having these conversations with people in your community, even if your project isn't awarded, you've learned more and been able to make more connections. And this is just like that, where you have to really look deep at your community and see what you're doing. And even if you don't get this award, like you're saying, it's setting you up for national awards, but also setting you up to ask for funding from maybe another funder for a project. You've really noticed a hole in the healthy community aspect of wherever you live. So All right. Well, I don't want to take up anybody's time beyond what we need to. So, James and Micah, I really appreciate you both being here today and sharing about these awards. I would encourage anybody who hasn't to check out the website to learn more about what you can do to apply. And yeah, feel free to reach out. You can even reach out to me, or obviously reach out to James if you have any interest in doing this. Hope everyone has an awesome rest of your day. Stay safe with the storms, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much, James and Micah and everyone for coming.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yep. See you later.
Bye.